Guys, Coach Kurt. So I wanted to look at the different methods of jiu-jitsu when it pertains to sport, which is interesting because, my channel has more to do with control tactics combatives for law enforcement. And I train judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu on my own time. What I end up teaching is Taiho jitsu or police combatives in a non-law enforcement sense. That's what I end up teaching. But if you are looking for sport, either as a spectator or a practitioner, generally speaking in America, you automatically think of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Well, obviously, that's the big sport jiu-jitsu stuff that's going on in America. You also have combat jiu-jitsu, which is a different game altogether. It's basically jiu-jitsu with slapping and so forth. But what you're seeing on the screen right now, it is in America. If you're familiar, I am a member of the United States Jiu-Jitsu Federation, and they have sport jiu-jitsu, and it's basically Japanese jiu-jitsu in a sport context. And this is out of Europe. This is huge in Europe compared to America, it seems, unless it's big on the West or the East Coast, and I'm just not aware of it because I'm on the West Coast and I don't see or hear of anything like this on this side of the country. But you're looking at basically the striking that you would find in a karate tournament, and I use that term generically. One difference is you see when they strike and gain a point, the ref isn't breaking it up. I used to do karate tournaments. If you remember right, I did Kaji Kembo as a young adult, as a kid, and I used to do those tournaments back in the day, back in the 80s. And when you'd score your point, they'd break it up, you'd reset, and you attack again. Here, they score their point and they keep going. And they strike until they get into the clinch range. And then it's basically judo style or judo type takedowns. The whole gamut, not just traditional or Olympic judo where you only can attack the upper body. You'll see double legs, single legs, fireman carry, that kind of stuff in sport jiu-jitsu. And when, again, I'm saying sport jiu-jitsu, I'm not talking about Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm talking about what you're looking on the screen, Japanese jiu-jitsu in a sport context. Now, from what I understand, looking at the rule set, they don't allow uncontrolled technique. You're going to see striking, and someone might get a bloody nose or hit in the face pretty good, but they don't count, or you can be disqualified for, or at least get a warning for, wild, uncontrolled techniques. This isn't MMA. This isn't, or even Sambo. If you guys seen combat Sambo, it's basically MMA in a gi. Very, very aggressive, more so than what you're seeing on screen. But as a spectator, I got to tell you, this is pretty fascinating and fun to watch. To me, you're getting, as the practitioner, they're getting the full gamut of their jiu-jitsu. They're able to practice striking. They're able to practice grappling in the clinch range, which I think the clinch range is the most important range. And now you're also seeing Kudo. It's relatively new as far as martial arts go. I think it's only like 5 to 10 years old, but it's basically a karate and judo type mix. So it's very similar, sport jiu-jitsu similar in that they have the same range of attacking as allowed. But as you can see in Kudo, top left, they have the helmets on. It's basically Kyokushin karate that's allowed to punch to the head and combat judo, basically. Very Sambo-like, very aggressive. People probably get knocked out doing Kudo. It's pretty aggressive. But if you are interested in a combat sport, but you're not looking to get your head knocked off, sport jiu-jitsu seems very... I know I'm falling in love with it as a spectator. I'm 53. I got bad knees, bad hip. I'm not going to be getting into the ring anytime soon or out on the mat doing it. But as a spectator, it looks absolutely awesome. It's got this fast pace that you would see in Olympic judo. It's got the striking that you would see at a karate tournament or a taekwondo tournament. They even have that little karate hop that you see in karate tournaments. But once they get in the clinch range, it's on. Now, if I understand the rules correctly, once you're clinched up, 2 hands on 2 hands, basically both competitors have 2 hands on the gi. there is no more striking. It's strictly clinching. I believe that if you have one hand on the gi and one hand's free, you're allowed to hit once. Rules could have changed, but now you look at top left, Kudo, there's punching when they're on the ground, there's punching when they're clinched. The striking in Kudo reminds me very much of what I have seen in Kyokushin karate or Dutch-style kickboxing. Very aggressive, very powerful. And it doesn't seem like they care if there doesn't seem to be any rules about not striking when you clinch, where the rule set in sport jiu-jitsu, once you're clinched up, the striking stops, and it doesn't look like there's any striking on the ground either. And of course, in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, there's absolutely no striking at all. And the rule set has, depending on what organization you belong to, if you're an IBJJF practitioner, you see a lot more attempt for wrestling-style takedowns, and maybe a little judo. Judo's making a little bit of a comeback in jiu-jitsu, in the gi world anyway, but a lot of butt-scooting, guard pulling going on in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Now, you go into a combat jiu-jitsu situation, it might be different. It's open hand striking. Maybe I'll do a video on combat jiu-jitsu as it relates to Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But you know that I'm an advocate that jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu. I don't care what flavor you favor. If you're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner, know and understand that you're practicing jiu-jitsu, a different side to the same coin as Japanese jiu-jitsu. How you do your jiu-jitsu is up to you, and a lot of it has to do with the intent of how you practice. Now, listen, there are traditionalists that do not believe in sport at all. They're like, you do sport, and it's not realistic. I completely disagree, and I rely on my martial arts in the real world as a police officer. The last 26 years, I've used it's Taiho Jitsu. Basically, to me, Taiho Jitsu is Japanese jiu-jitsu strictly designed for police work. Same difference, different name, rose by any other name, right? But back to what I was saying, I rely on it to be real-world applicable, and my channel is based on that. But I also believe that sport can greatly enhance your skills. If you disagree, bring it up in the comments. Tell me why you absolutely refuse to do sport. Give me your explanations. At the end of the day, you do jiu-jitsu the way you want to do it. But I thought this was amazing. I don't know where it's been in my world anywhere. You probably like, dude, what are you talking about? It's been around forever. I just seem to have now discovered this sport jiu-jitsu. It's huge in Europe, and it's got a small following in the United States from what I can tell. Let me know if I'm completely off base. Let me know, oh, no, it's huge in the United States in this area. Let me know. All right, everybody. Everybody take care. Like, subscribe, and share.
Look out! I'm in complete control! Holy shit!
Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out.